Episode 253, Fake versus Real Entrepreneurs, Part 1.
You're listening to the very best podcast in the world on health, wealth, and happiness. Please remember to leave a review and share with all your friends and family. And here is your host, Lars Hilser.
And it is Hump Day. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the very best podcast in the world, your only source in the universe for personal supremacy through health, wealth, and happiness. Yesterday I somehow made it with one breath. Anyhow, long story short, what are we going to go through today? Well, it's about entrepreneurship and real entrepreneurs and fake entrepreneurs. And today we're going to start with the fake entrepreneurs, simply because I came across one thing that I lived through, which just made me, I don't know, wild. Or, I don't know. I felt ashamed, really, for all of us busting their balls and cahoots and whatnot, in order to make a living, change the world, and whatnot. And anyhow, many moons ago, I came across this interesting dog boutique, which was just insanely interesting, which I'm going to go into more detail about right after we get through our daily housekeeping, of which item number one is sharing is caring. So if you come across this, no, not if you are, obviously you've already come across. Anyhow, share the content far and wide. Reason being, you're going to influence people's lives positively. That's what I was just trying to say in a nutshell. Item number two, views on my own, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. Item number three, remodeling mode, building a barn, never stops. So that being said, back to our dog parlor, salon. No, not parlor, but dog boutique. Let's call it a boutique because it was just that, or a poor attempt at whatever. Anyhow, we were walking through some kind of flea market here in Germany. My better half, I, and Stevie. And it was just really, really, really entertaining when, we bought loads of interesting, antique stuff. And it was just this glorious flea market, of which there are few left. And anyhow, we came across this dog boutique, which was insanely appealing from the outside. The windows were very well decorated. We went inside. The decor was quite well made. There were, more on the high end / exclusive products in there. And, we walked through there and lady comes up and says, "Hey, can I help you?" And I was like, "No, thanks. We're just looking around." And I overheard her having a conversation at the counter with another lady that was in there. And the discussion was about how the EMs, I think is what they're called, these pearl things. And I always called them emasculated minerals. But it was just this obscene discussion with dangerous half knowledge about this stuff. And even though I didn't know anything about it, I knew that listening to her, I wouldn't know any more about it, because it was supposed to prevent ticks and, from settling on the body of the dog and, this, that, and the other. And anyhow, I was just so flabbergasted that I started a polite conversation with this lady. And it turns out that she was running this boutique with a friend of hers, and both of them were the wives of successful doctors. Now, obviously, with the pricing and the strategy and everything, this thing was burning money left, right, and center. Because while they were attracting, the one customer or the other in this flea market situation, keep in mind they were adjacent to the flea market, so everybody and their dog obviously ran in there to, just look through the store, but nobody bought anything, that's what I could tell, at least from the 20 minutes that I was in there, because the assortment of stuff that they had was, while interesting, it was, and yes, I'm guilty as fuck of, buying useless stuff for our pooch. But there's a price tag to it, or there's a limit to the price tag. And these girls were kind of, looking to serve the high-end customers. And not a lot of those were on the flea market. Now, I could be wrong, right? But the margins on the products I checked on the web couldn't have been that great. So that's how I came to the conclusion, left, right, and center. So that's going to be the example for today's episode. You were probably wondering why there is a part 1. Well, tomorrow there's going to be a part 2. So God will. By the way, I lied about today's episode. We're going to move that, I don't know, probably to Friday for the exercise. But anyhow, what these girls were doing are 3 fundamental mistakes, and, where you can really determine a fake entrepreneur, right? First of all, they start a business because it is trendy, right? For these girls, they could probably, assuming by the money that was spent on the store, they could have probably been living the life, and just, wasting their doctor spouse's money left, right, and center, and, having a good life and not having to do anything. But they wanted to appear to be busy, and they wanted to appear to, be doing their own thing, while I am quite certain that their store was heavily subsidized by the cash of their probably loaded husbands. So they did it, just for shits and giggles, not because they wanted to, change the world. Then we're going to go to the next indicator of a fake entrepreneur, which is the flashiness, right? Normal entrepreneurs have a day that is jam-packed with appointments and calls and this, that, and the other, because they have so much shit to do when you start. There's so much shit to do when you start a business. You got to do the accounting, you got to do taxes, you got to do this, that, blah, and you're just busy and you're on point pretty much 24/7. And so there's not a lot of time to, go out shopping for clothes. Yes, if you're in the consultant's business or whatever, you're going to have a flashy suit or two to convince the customers, maybe a nice pair of sneaks, but you're not going to spend a lot of time in the morning putting together your outfit. And these girls were the opposite. Their makeup was immaculate. And, so was their attire, and so were their clothes, and, whatever. And the flashiness just kind of overshone this I don't know, generally, jet set-ish kind of wannabe jet set-ish thingamajigger that they were doing there. And so the flashiness is another point where you can actually determine a fake entrepreneur, because again, they don't spend a lot of time on themselves because they don't have any. They've got a mission to complete, which is the business, and the mission is always going to be there for people like that. Now, what was true for them also was a third indicator for fake entrepreneurs, which is that obviously they believed the process was going to be easy. And for them, it probably was, because you could really see there was nothing really on the cheap end there, and everything was quite immaculately placed. The lighting was just perfect. Everything was brand spanking new. So it was this interesting environment that you came into. Obviously, they made the process easy by throwing their husband's money at it. And the husband said, yeah, okay, just, get off my ass and do your own business, for God's sake. And that was really what you perceived in that store. It wasn't authentic entrepreneurship. And what that is something we're going to go into in tomorrow's episode, when we're going to talk about fake versus real entrepreneurs part 2, when we're going to talk about the real entrepreneurs and the shit they wade through to, not only make ends meet, but to actually change the world, at least a lot of them. So in that sense, have a nice rest of your Wednesday. If you've already had your Wednesday, have a good night. Hands above the blanket, and peace out. Gonna see you tomorrow for part 2. Bye now.